everybody! So today is the next entry in my Did the Right Film Win? My look at the animated Oscars, starting in 2001, and now we're at 2007. And this, I think, will go down as one of the most creative years that I will review in this series. I like all three of these films a lot. Two I had seen before, and two, Persepolis and Ratatouille, made it into both my most artistic animated films list and my top 50 animated films of all time. Surf's Up I actually had not seen before, and so that was new, so that's pretty fun. The first film that we're going to talk about is Surf's Up.
To find out what it really means.
Stop fighting it, Cody! Just let go!
Welcome
To be a winner.
Everyone's like, Cody's this, Cody's that. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
A winner is somebody who doesn't knock me off my surfboard.
Surf's Up.
Surf's Up was made by Sony Pictures, and like I said, I had never seen this before, and it was so creative. It tells the story of Cody the penguin, and it is in documentary style. I've never seen an animated film take that approach. I thought it was really creative. And the directors are, I believe, the interviewers for the documentary. And in this world, there are no humans, penguins, and other animals. Cody loves to surf, and he lives in Antarctica. And he goes out on this ice board that he makes, and he goes and he surfs, and he gets discovered by a promoter, and he gets entered into this surfing competition that is his dream, was won, I think, 9 years in a row or something, by a penguin named the Big Z. And Big Z is voiced by Jeff Bridges, and Cody is voiced by Shia LaBeouf. So Big Z was this really famous surfer, and he was a real hero to Cody. Once in this competition, he was surfing against Tank, a new surfer who had big moves, and he all of a sudden disappeared. Big Z. He had a big crash, and people thought he must have gone to the bottom of the ocean. And so now there's the tournament's name is the Big Z Memorial Tournament, and Tank is still cleaning up in the circuit. But Cody has entered, and he at first challenges Tank, and he gets completely obliterated in their first match. And then the story kind of goes from there. I don't want to give too much more away. There's also a girl penguin, of course, voiced by Zooey Deschanel, and there's a chicken that surfs named Chicken Joe, who's voiced by Napoleon Dynamite himself, Mr. John Heater. And I thought this movie was really refreshing. It looks gorgeous. The surfing sequences are beautiful. You know, I love anything with surfing or Hawaii, or, just I love the beach. I love being in the water. So that I really liked the messaging of the film, because it wasn't just that winning doesn't matter or that winning matters more than anything else. It was a message about gaining something from the journey of competition. The competition is a good thing. Competition has great things, but the most important thing of any competition is always the people you meet along the way and the experience that you have, in this case, while surfing. To never lose that magic of it, but to always try your hardest and to learn and to improve each time, to never give up. And so I think that it's actually a really great movie if you have kids that are maybe being a sore loser or aren't participating the way that they should in competitive events. I think this is a really good movie for that. It's directed by Chris Buck and Ash Brannon, and I think they did a really good job. I really enjoyed it. I mean, the only thing I would fault it for is I think the soundtrack feels a little dated. Top 40 songs of those years, and so I would have rather they used like Beach Boys or something that's a little more timeless. But other than that, I thought it was great. The one that was nominated is called Persepolis.
Mais qui tu es et d'où tu viens?
T'as vu une révolution et une guerre.
Ah ouais?
Wow. Balèze.
This is a very unique animated film for adults. I'm going to say these names wrong, so I'm sorry in advance. But it's based on the graphic novel by Marjane Satrapi. And it is directed by Marjane and Vincent Paranod. Paranod. And it is about a girl named Margie who grows up in Iran. Set during the Iranian Revolution when the Shah was dethroned. It starts out there. And it basically tells the whole life of this girl Margie from the time she's like 6 or 7, 8, something like that, all the way until she is a married woman. And it has probably a bigger scope than any animated film I can think of, at least, you know, where it's not just one story of, you know, an event or a year or you know, single story. It's her whole life. And so you have all these mini stories within the broader story. And it's all done through black and white animation, like a graphic novel. And then periodically you see bits of color. And typically that's when she is embracing modernity and she's embracing sort of a feminist and a modern perspective. That was my take on it. I could be wrong. It seemed like that's when it appeared, is in those moments, like when she's at the airport going to Vienna, or when she's leaving Iran at the end, different things like that. She's from a fairly modern family that wants her to be educated and wants her to be cultured and wants her to have all of these good things. And so she has to sort of battle with what she's learning at home versus what she's learning at school, and sort of the propaganda that she gets at school. And also sort of the suspicion that hangs over her family, because she has an uncle who is in prison, and they're seen as sort of a revolutionary suspect family by the government that gets power. And so, you know, there's a lot of tension, and and at the same time, she's also just a normal teenager, a normal little girl who wants to experiment with things like, you know, punk music and cigarettes and things like that. They may be not that uncommon for teenagers to experiment with. And so you just see this back and forth in her life, and it's really, really great. I mean, it's like I said, it's made my top 50 animated films, and it's also in my top 20 artistic animated films. It's just so different. There's never been a biopic film like that in animation, and it's really, I think, the first sort of animation for adults that many people had ever experienced. And I do think it helped a lot of people that were aware of it, at least, to sort of open their eyes to what animation could be, and that it wasn't just for kids. And just, you know, I really like the message. It's not it's this mix between being who you are and remembering where you're from, but then also embracing the new and forging ahead. And I think that's great. So the last film that we're going to talk about is Ratatouille.
Once in a lifetime.
Let's do this thing!
Man, no.
You detect that? An oaky nuttiness?
Oh, I'm detecting that.
We hate to be rude, but we're French.
I have a rash.
You have a rush?
She's toying with my mind, taunting me with that rat.
And this is directed by Brad Bird. Ratatouille is about a rat named Remy who has a highly developed sense of smell. And this makes it hard for him to do normal rat-like activities. He doesn't want to eat trash, and he doesn't want to be, you know, gross. He wants something better, and he's found a way to watch a chef named Chef Gusteau, who challenges at the end of the episode of the show. He says anyone can cook, and so he's really inspired. He loves Chef Gusteau, and he dreams of really being able to he doesn't have a dream of being a chef. He just wants to be able to eat good food and not the trash. In the end, I think he wants to be understood. He's one of those characters that I love, who's sort of uncomfortable in their own skin. He doesn't belong where he doesn't belong in his tribe, and he just knows there's something better for him. There must be some place where he can belong. Anyway, Remy ends up getting separated from the group, and he ends up in Paris. And he actually ends up at Gusteau's famous restaurant in Paris. Turns out Gusteau has actually passed away fairly recently. Remy is at Gusteau's restaurant, and he meets this young man named Linguini, who was the son of a former girlfriend of Gusteau. And Linguini has no idea how to cook. And through various things, Remy ends up cooking for Linguini, and Linguini gets to have the credit for it. And this is meaningful to Remy because he can finally do, even if it is under another person's name, he can finally do what he loves. The executive chef of the restaurant, after Gusteau has died, has wanted to change Gusteau's image, put out a whole line of frozen food items that don't have anything to do with French cooking. He's got like burritos and Chinese food and things like that. So he's kind of sort of trying to sully the name of Chef Gusteau just to gain a buck. And so that's his character. And then there's also this critic named Anton Ego, who is just one of my favorite characters ever in a Pixar movie. And Anton Ego doesn't like Gusteau, and he thinks his motto of anyone can cook is foolish. And he hears about sort of these changes that are happening at Gusteau's, and so he's going to come and review the restaurant. And a lot of funny sequences between all the different chefs, and it's sort of fun to see the inside of a 5-star French restaurant. And Paris looks so beautiful in Ratatouille. It really feels like the city of lights, even though it's told from the perspective of a rat. It looks so beautiful. There's scenes where he looks out on the whole Paris skyline, and it's just breathtaking. It makes, every time I watch it, I want to go to Paris. It looks great, and the way that they describe the food and the whole experience of Remy smelling the food and just makes your mouth water. It looks great. But my favorite part of Ratatouille is the final speech that Anton Ego gives. Okay, I'm just going to read it because I really love it so much. It says, in many ways, the work of a critic is easy. We risk very little, yet enjoy position over those who offer up their work and their selves to our judgment. We thrive on negative criticism, which is fun to write and to read. But the bitter truth we critics must face is that in the grand scheme of things, the average piece of junk is probably more meaningful than our criticism designating it so. But there are times when a critic truly risks something, and that is the discovery and defense of the new. The world is often unkind to the new talent, new creations. The new needs friends. I just love that. I think that is beautiful. It is so easy, and it is fun to be critical and to come on and bash things. But something I try to keep in mind, even in reviews of movies that I didn't particularly care for, is to try to keep in mind that they at least had the guts to put out something and to create something, and that's more than I've really done. And also just to be the defense of the new, and how hard sometimes change can be, and how hard sometimes something new can be. But when you find that thing that just excites you and is new and different, and how we all have an obligation, a spokesperson for things that are new and different, and to help welcome things that are new, whether it's a new person, a new movie, a new friend, a new way of doing things that we might not have thought of before. I just love that so much. So did the right one win? Ratatouille won. And it's really tough because Persepolis and Ratatouille are so different. So I can see arguments for both, but because I love that final scene so much in Ratatouille, that final speech, I got to give the nod to Ratatouille. I think the right one won in this case, but I have no issues with anybody who would say that Persepolis should have won, because I think it is a great film. So it's tough, but that's what I think. Let me know what you think and what would be your pick out of these three. And if you have seen them, what did you think? So hope you're having a great day. Please subscribe to my channel, and talk to you later.